Hello, and welcome to the big, yellow and burning subject of the sun. Do you ever think about the sun? How much influence does it have on your life? You probably don't think about it very much, but the sun's influence is absolutely enormous, and without it, we simply wouldn't exist. In this unit, we're going to explore the power of the sun from two different points of view: myth and science. First of all, let's talk about myth. Mysterious architecture, ancient gods, and even human sacrifice. These are just a few of the things that demonstrate just how influential the sun is. There are thousands of examples all around the world that were inspired by the sun. One of the most curious examples is Stonehenge. Stonehenge, in the south of England, is a series of large rocks positioned in concentric circles. It is made more curious by the fact no one really knows why it was built. Experts tell us that it is about 5,000 years old, as it dates back to somewhere around 2500 BC. There are several theories about why Stonehenge was built. Some theories suggest it was a temple for sun worship and a burial ground. Others suggest that perhaps it was a huge calendar. Whatever the truth is, it is almost certain the sun played a central role. Even now in the 21st century, thousands of people come together to watch the sunrise on the longest day of the year, the summer solstice. One thing we can say with certainty is that Stonehenge was incredibly difficult to construct, as it's composed of huge rocks that weigh up to 50 tons. Well, that's the same as about 40 cars. Don't forget, we are talking about a time that only had very basic tools, so the fact they were able to transport the rocks to the site is amazing, and historians are still debating how they managed to do it. At around the same time as the construction of Stonehenge, one of the greatest civilizations ever to exist were busy building their own mysterious monuments. Of course, I am referring to the ancient and impressive Egyptian pyramids. There are two particular factors that make the building of the pyramids even more mystifying. The first is size, and the second is accuracy. If we take the Great Pyramid of Giza, the only remaining example from the 7 wonders of the world, as a comparison, Stonehenge is absolutely tiny. Archaeologists estimate that at the time of the pyramid's construction, it was about 145 meters high. That's 3 times higher than the Statue of Liberty in America, and made it the highest building in the world for almost 4,000 years. It is also estimated that there are more than 100,000 stones, and its total weight was almost 6 million tons. Truly unbelievable. Perhaps the most amazing aspect of the pyramids is their accuracy. Nobody knows for sure, but some say the pyramids were built to precisely reflect the position of the sun during a specific period called the spring equinox. The spring equinox is the day of the year when the sun crosses the Earth's equator and the first day of spring begins. Now, if you remember that we are talking about thousands and thousands of years ago, long before the invention of computers, GPS, and other high-tech equipment, it really is incredible. Just like Stonehenge, there are numerous theories as to how the pyramids were built. Some say, because they are so big, thousands of slaves were used to drag the tons and tons of stones. Others argue that this theory is unlikely because the construction is so precise that they must have been constructed by highly skilled workers. Then, on the other hand, there are even some who suggest they were created by aliens from a distant planet, but that's unthinkable, isn't it? As we pass through time, we can see more and more of the sun's influence. From the ancient Greeks and the tragic story of Icarus with his melting wings, to the Romans with the most famous sun god of them all, the mighty Apollo. Apollo's name can still be heard in modern society and is used for everything from cinemas and American pizzerias to the spaceship that first took Neil Armstrong and his buddies to the moon. Fast forwarding a few hundred years and travelling to the opposite side of the planet to Latin America, we can see that the sun had an even stronger influence on society. All through the Americas' history, from the ancient Mayan civilizations to the Aztecs and Incas, the sun played a fundamental role. Like the Pyramid of the Sun, which can still be seen today in Mexico, hundreds of impressive temples and pyramids were specifically built in honor of the sun. In fact, the pyramids were considered so important that the Aztecs even made human sacrifices by putting victims on a sacrificial stone and then cutting out their hearts and holding it to the air while it was still beating in honor of the sun god. If you think that is bad, after they had killed the victims, they proceeded to eat them, but it was all in the name of God, so that's okay, right? In the 15th century, science began to play an important role. A Polish scientist, Nicholas Copernicus, challenged the common view that the Earth was the centre of the universe. At that time, the Church was incredibly powerful and influential, and the ideas went totally against the philosophical and religious beliefs. His revolutionary ideas were also rejected by fellow scholars who were, perhaps, afraid of the Church. A century later, the father of modern science, Galileo Galilei, developed Copernicus's work and, with the help of his improvements in the design of the telescope, he presented further evidence that the Sun was, in fact, the centre of the solar system. One of Galilei's most significant discoveries was that of sunspots. Sunspots are areas of the Sun's surface which are not as hot as the rest. This is significant because, until that point, the Sun was considered to be a perfect golden disk and represented perfect gods in several different cultures and religions. The discovery of these imperfections not only challenged this view of perfection, but also helped to demonstrate that the Sun actually rotates. Galilei studied the spots for several weeks to conclude that not only did the Sun rotate, but that it rotated at different speeds in different areas, proving that the Sun was not, in truth, solid. Once again, the Church rejected his ideas, but his evidence was so great that it really was the beginning of the end of the idea that the Earth was created by God to be the centre of the solar system. Moving to the modern day, we can use our powerful computers and multi-million-dollar telescopes to see clear images of Galileo's sunspots, as well as other phenomena such as solar flares. Solar flares occur when the Sun releases massive amounts of energy from its surface. These eruptions can also cause solar quakes. Solar quakes are like earthquakes, but the difference is that they are millions of times stronger. As part of the chain reaction, solar quakes can send out huge solar tsunamis with waves that are thousands of meters high. Having such a powerful neighbour does put things into perspective, and maybe we should feel lucky with our privileged position in the solar system. If we were closer to the Sun, we would all fry like sausages, and if we were further away, we would all freeze to death. Well, I hope you are not freezing or frying to death, and I hope you enjoyed this unit. Until next time, ciao for now.